Inspector Spacetime and the Temporal Fez. Tallyn stood beside the inspector, his young eyes wide with curiosity. They were in a nondescript alley, the night air cool and filled with the distant hum of traffic. He looked around, puzzled. "Inspector, where are we?" he asked, trying to make sense of their surroundings. The inspector, adjusting his long coat and peering at a small beeping device in his hand, responded with a knowing smile. "The question isn't where are we, Tallyn, it's when are we?" Tallyn's eyes lit up with excitement. "When are we then?" The inspector pointed to a decrepit warehouse across the street. "South Dakota, 2015, and inside that warehouse is something very out of place." The duo approached the warehouse cautiously. The building looked abandoned, but the inspector's device indicated a strong quantum signature emanating from within. They slipped inside through a side door, immediately sensing something strange about the place. Despite its ordinary exterior, the interior was vast, filled with shelves of ancient artifacts and relics from various eras. "It's bigger on the inside," Tallyn whispered, awestruck. "Indeed," the inspector replied. "Objects out of time can cause cracks in the space-time continuum. We must be careful." As they ventured deeper into the warehouse, they encountered Pete and Mika, agents of the United States Secret Service, who were guarding the relics. The agents raised their weapons, blocking the path. "Who are you?" "This is a restricted area," Pete demanded. "We're here to help," the inspector said calmly. "There is an item here that needs to be returned to its rightful place in time." Mika frowned. "Time behaves strangely around that object. What makes you think you can handle it?" The inspector took a step forward, his eyes serious. "Because if we don't, reality as we know it could shatter. I need to immobilize the object forever, something you've been unable to do." The agents hesitated, but Tallyn's earnest expression seemed to soften Mika's stance. "All right, but we're coming with you," she said. The group made their way to the back of the warehouse, where a faint, otherworldly glow marked the location of the Fez. As they approached, the quantum distortions became more pronounced, warping the air around them. "There it is," Tallyn pointed. The Fez floated slightly above a pedestal, flickering in and out of phase with reality. The inspector pulled out a small device resembling a futuristic tuning fork. "This temporal stabilizer should do the trick, but we need to act fast." As he worked, a sudden tremor shook the warehouse. Cracks began to form in the walls, the fabric of reality struggling to contain the temporal anomaly. "Inspector, hurry!" Pete shouted, trying to steady himself. The inspector deftly manipulated the device, and with a final adjustment, a beam of light shot out, enveloping the Fez. The tremors stopped, and the air around them stilled. "It's done," the inspector said, breathing a sigh of relief. "The Fez is stabilized." Mika looked at the inspector with newfound respect. "You really did it. Thank you." The inspector nodded, but maintained a serious expression. "It's stabilized for now, but we must return it to where it belongs. In London, 2013. Pete and Mika exchanged puzzled glances, but they trusted the inspector. "All right, we trust you to take care of it," Pete said. With the Fez now secure in the inspector's hands, Tallyn and the inspector made their way back to the dodecahedron. Tallyn looked up at the inspector with a mix of excitement and concern. "What happens if we don't get it back to 2013, Inspector?" "Time is like a delicate thread, Tallyn. One small disruption can unravel the entire fabric of reality. We must ensure the Fez is returned to its rightful place before it's too late." With a whirl and a hum, the dodecahedron launched into the time vortex, heading for London, 2013. They landed in a bustling city street, the sounds of everyday life echoing around them. The inspector led Tallyn through the crowds to a small antique shop. "This is the place," the inspector said, pushing open the door. Inside, they found an elderly shopkeeper dusting off various curios. "Can I help you?" the shopkeeper asked, eyeing the Fez in the inspector's hands. "Yes, you can," the inspector replied with a smile. "This Fez belongs here. It's been out of phase with time, and it's crucial that it stays here to maintain the balance of reality." The shopkeeper looked puzzled, but nodded. "All right then, if you say so." The inspector carefully placed the Fez on a shelf, and instantly, the room seemed to brighten. A sense of peace and normalcy settled over the shop. Tallyn looked around, amazed. "Did we do it, Inspector?" "Yes, Tallyn," the inspector said, placing a hand on the boy's shoulder. "We've restored the balance. The universe is safe once more. As they left the shop and headed back to the dodecahedron, Tallyn couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Another adventure successfully completed, Inspector. The inspector ruffled Tallyn's hair affectionately. Indeed, Tallyn. The universe is a safer place because of you. As they prepared to embark on their next journey, the inspector turned to Tallyn with a grin. Where to next, my young friend? Tallyn smiled brightly. Anywhere and anytime, Inspector. Let's see what other mysteries the universe has in store for us. And with that, the dodecahedron soared off into the starry night, ready for the next adventure. As Tallyn dreamed of all the wonders that awaited them in the endless reaches of time and space. The end.